Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're in episode 136. Today is June 9th. My name is Craig Perales, and joining me, as always, Andrew Montemayor.
I'm so excited that we're finally at that time of the year where it's like, I was really worried we weren't gonna get like a lot of cool stories, and they're already kind of just coming out like quick. So I'm super excited for this upcoming week.
It gives us something to talk about. So, guys, if you are watching the YouTube version of the show, make sure you guys hit the like button, leave a comment, hit subscribe, hit the share button if you can, and ring the bell to keep your notifications on for upcoming videos. If you guys are interested in following us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, our Linktree link is in the description of the YouTube video. You guys can click it there. And if you guys are listening to the audio-only version of the podcast, find us wherever your podcast platform of choice is, but Anchor is the home for us. And new shirt.
Yeah, actually, I kind of want to talk about that too. Again, they've been doing it a lot, but TeePublic's been doing, like I mentioned last time, a lot of those 35% sales. They're actually doing one right now, so I didn't buy it. Christina bought it for me. She bought a couple sweaters and some shirts, and so today I thought I'd wear that nice Robin eggshell blue.
Is that what the color is?
That's just what I call it.
Nice, I like that. I have been looking at moving over to Teespring though, lately, but because TeePublic is kind of odd. Some of our designs kind of disappear sometimes, so it's like,
yeah,
I haven't gone back into to upload it, but I've been meaning to. So hopefully the Game Boy one we can put back up soon.
I like that one too.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I do like this that color on you. It really makes those eyes pop.
I really like the green. I think the green one was my favorite. And I did get a red one like that. Red one you were wearing, like that dark.
Ooh.
But it's weird too. Like when you get the color in person, that red looks like a bit brighter when you're ordering it, but it's a lot darker because I had seen it in person.
Nice.
So.
Hey, you got to go off what the eyes tell you, my friend. So before we get into our main stories, guys, we'd like to do What Are You Up To? And Andrew and I take a second, talk about anything we've been playing, anything we've been watching, any trips we may have planned. So would you like to go first, Andrew, or second today?
I'll go first because mine's not much. I honestly haven't been doing anything really. I'm on the back end of Final Fantasy 12. I'm absolutely crushing and cruising through this game, especially because, like I was telling Craig earlier, you can set up the gambits to kind of auto-combat. So I just let my people sit in this one area where enemies keep respawning, and if you kill them with like a certain technique, they'll infinitely respawn. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll just leave it there while I'm watching TV or kind of, I could go do dishes, clean, whatever else. So I'm doing all this other stuff. So my people are just like a brick shit house that I've really only been playing for about 10 hours. I'm just cruising through absolutely anything I run into. And then on top of that, because you have the speed booster, fights aren't long, that I don't mind killing everything along the way, and I'm one-shotting everything. So that's just even more XP that's just like doubling on. So I'm like level 60 and I'm just smashing absolutely everything.
How much until you're done? Like, where are you at?
For the story wise, I could probably have the story done, I think, within like the next like 5 hours. And then after that, it just depends on what achievements I want to clean up. I think I am going to try and do all the hunts, because normally the only hunt that's ever an issue is the last one. It's not that the boss is hard. He just has so much health.
That big-ass turtle?
No, it's like a big, they call it like a worm, but it's like the dragon with the things around its neck. And so you can
the things.
You can just set it to like auto battle and then have the gambit on, and I'll just turn that on and watch something and let it kill itself. So
there you go. What have you been watching anything new or what?
Nah, I don't have the heart in me to keep watching anything new because I'm just trying to plow through Vikings. I didn't even catch up on Obi-Wan from yesterday, but I am going to go see Jurassic Park on Saturday. I'm super excited because that's my favorite movie of all time.
Nice. Anything else then you got?
Nah, what about you?
So as far as what I've been watching, again, right now is the time to like just get caught up on everything. So I did watch the Obi-Wan, different discussion for a different time, but what I did recently binge is The Boys Season 3 on Amazon Prime launched, and Amazon does it at 3 episodes at a time. And dude, this is just as crazy and as wild and as raunchy as all the other seasons. The only thing I didn't like is in the very beginning, their recap of what the fuck's been going on with 1 and 2 was like stupid. It was just like shots and video, like it didn't do anything of like telling you who's been doing what. So
Obi-Wan did a better job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you are kind of, if it's been a minute, I would say just watch it, go to YouTube and watch one. But it does take place a year after the end of number 2. But dude, there's this one scene, and I don't think it's really giving anything away, but the Deep is kind of like Aquaman, and he talks to he can talk to creatures. At one point, he's banging his wife, but he has an aquarium in his room, so what's looking at him is this little octopus. So he's like like sex talking to like it instead of like her. It's fucking weird. But at the end, he ends up, Homelander heads him over for like dinner, and he's serving seafood. And when he opens up his thing, it's that fucking squid or whatever it is. And he makes it, and he's like, "Oh, Timothy." he's like, "Yeah, eat it." He's like, "But he's got kids, man." And he starts eating. He's like, he's praying. So, dude, it's wild. He makes him eat this fucking squid that you just had this moment with earlier on. So it's definitely a rated R show. So if it's something you were looking to be getting into, be prepared for like wild, sexual, deviant kind of stuff in this show.
I think I'm gonna start it because I think I saw a clip earlier, and I think it's from this season where Homelander's on the roof and there's a chick there too.
Oh yeah.
And he's talking to her and trying to talk her down, but then at the end he's like, "Oh, I'm not suggesting anymore," and then she fucking jumps out. I'm like, "God damn, I have to watch this show now." Because after watching that, I was like, "This is just too good."
Because we could chat about it. Yeah, because Homelander is kind of what it focuses on, and this is the season where he's kind of starting to break. So,
dude, he's great.
Yeah, check it out. As far as what I've been playing, I've still just been kind of looking for quick games like on Game Pass, and I found this one that I think launched either yesterday or the day before called Disc Room. It's developed by this 4-person team, and it's published by Devolver Digital. It came out in October 22nd of 2020, but on Game Pass it just dropped. And it's this action puzzle video game in which the player navigates a series of labyrinth rooms while avoiding bullet hell style projectiles. Each room has its own patterns, but it's not predictable between rooms. Dude, it's crazy, man. Like, it's not. I thought it was gonna be a longer game. It was actually pretty short. You can beat it pretty quick, but like, all these different rooms have like different things you have to do to try to beat them. You got to like try to survive as long as you can. And like certain rooms will have like requirements to do it. So it'll be like last 15 seconds in this room to unlock this room. But as you keep going, you're like, dude, these are getting like harder and harder. But the more you're able to do, you're able to unlock powers. You can start like slowing down time. You can start making clones of yourself so that you can cover more ground. You can start doing like dashes that you can pass through blades and stuff. So if you're looking for a quick, simple game that you're going to die a lot in, Disc Room is actually pretty fun.
That almost kind of reminds me, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Cube. You ever seen that?
The Cube? No.
Oh, it's like a horror movie where these people are in like the center of like a prison style thing, and the rooms are constantly moving like how a Rubik's Cube would, and they're supposed to make it to the outside, but each room has a different trap. So like if you go into one, like it might not happen right away. It'll start to flood with acid. There's another one where it's like super thin piano wire, and so they throw their shoe in first, and it just like gets like shredded and stuff. So it's like a group of people trying to make it to the end. So I was going to say, it kind of sounds almost like that.
I think you would think this game. It's definitely, I think it's kind of more of a Mandrew game. But so that's what I've been playing. And as far as what's been trips going on, we do have a big trip going to Mexico in a couple of days. So we're still trying to iron out the details of what's going to happen with our next episode. But this is coming up Monday. We'll be gone. Amanda will be all alone.
Once again.
So, guys, let us know what you've been watching, what you've been playing, and if you've got anything cool happening that you want to tell us about. So, with that down and out of the way, guys, let's move into our main story. And we are looking at the Summer Game Fest that just dropped today, hosted by Jeff Keighley. Now, normally this is when E3 would be happening. So, since there is no E3, the last week we were able to get the Sony State of Play, which was solid games, and it was pretty tight. They kept it right under 30 minutes. Sunday on June 12th, we have the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, which they're predicting is going to be about 90 minutes. And then today for the Game Fest, it was kind of open. There was Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC, and it was about 2 hours long. So Andrew and I aren't going to go through this thing game by game like we did with the Showcase, because when I was adding it all up, there's over 40 titles, and they're not all bangers, but I do think there was something for everyone, so I don't think we really need to discuss every one of the games. If you guys do want to check it out in its entirety, the link to the video is in the description, so you guys can check it out there. So what we decided to do is take 3 different games, 3 games apiece of what they were able to show off, and kind of take a deeper look into what they were showing off for each of those games. So before we get into that, I did want to just kind of talk about the show real quick. So because Jeff Keighley does put a lot of work into these, and the show looked amazing. Like, all the kind of background and effects that he had was really cool, and he's always a sharp looking cat. I always love his shoe game. His kicks are always on point. But I do gotta say, I did think that this was a little too long of a show, because it started at 11, or I believe, and it was done by like 1. And one of the things that I think he was trying to do, and what was cool, was there was like a guest speaker on after every video, and I thought it was cool that he wants to give these teams time to like talk about their games and things like that, but they all ended up just having like 45 seconds to say something.
Yeah, so I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I was looking at it, I'm like either get rid of 40 different people talking and give 6 different teams time to like actually get into it, because some of it was just like, okay, this is really kind of like unnecessary. So I don't know, how much of that did you see?
I did see some of that, and I mean that kind of goes into that's how I feel about E3 anyways, is I kind of really don't like when people come out and talk, and I understand that someone has to have their time, but if you're really interested in that product, I would go and watch that afterwards anyway. I'll go watch your interview, and you can talk all you want to and have your own standalone thing instead of trying to fit a 10-minute speech into a 45-second slot that I just don't feel like comes off as... it's almost like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, you might it's literally the length of time it would take you to tweet something.
Yeah. So I did want to just kind of point out some of the pros and cons that I thought this one had. One of the cons definitely was... there was too many people not talking about enough things, because the second big con that I had was the fact that The Rock was in this. I mean, as cool as I guess it was to see him, was absolutely pointless. It had nothing to do with games. It was kind of this long kind of showcase of him advertising his drink, his energy drink, his gym. And the weird thing is he ended up talking longer than any of the developers in this game. Like, when I was looking at him, like, he went on for like 2.5 minutes when everyone else is getting like 40 seconds to be like, oh yeah, our game comes out here thanks to the team. So I thought that was kind of odd. And one of the things that I noticed a lot of people didn't like was that some of the trailers they were showing were for games that came out tomorrow. So I kind of felt like if you could have tightened this up to about an hour and 15 minutes if you got rid of kind of people talking that didn't really need to, and got rid of some of the trailers that, if they're coming out tomorrow, like, I mean, I guess for a reminder, but did you really need to waste 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here on something when that could have been their job to post on their tweet?
I just don't get why people, like, I get it as a reminder for like a really big game, but it's not like there's anything huge coming out right now that, why would you post something like that? You could have just saved the time or put something brand new. I always feel like there's that disconnect of like, they know that people watch these things to see new stuff or big things that are coming, and they still just try to fit in. Well, here's a piece of cheese. Here's something just to fill a time slot, and maybe it's cool, maybe it's not.
Yeah, so I mean, if it was long enough and you liked it, I just thought there was enough you could have done to get rid of that still would have kept it just in nicer flow. Because one of the 2 pros that I have are that it was still a big event, and I don't want these to go away. I'm a fan of the event.
Yeah,
a lot of people want, like, you know, if this wasn't for you, you could have easily have just checked out as it dropped, 10 seconds later when the trailer dropped. You could have cut up that way, but I like the presentation. I like seeing all that. And the other thing that I like that Keeley always does is a lot of these were world premieres. For the first time, you're watching it here. So I did like that, but overall I thought it just was a little too long. If you could have shaved off 30 minutes of that thing, and I thought you could have done the same job or got the same message across.
Yeah, I was kind of in and out on it too, but again, that's part of the thing. It's like, once you get to a spot, I'm like, do I really want to keep watching? And then there'd just be like another thing and another thing that I'm not interested in. Once it kind of snowballs a little bit, I'm like, okay, like, I'm out for a little bit, and then I'll pop back in.
So if you guys were watching it, let us know your thoughts. Again, there's 40 plus games in there. Andrew and I are going to dissect 3 a piece that kind of caught our eye. So Andrew, do you want to go first or second with your choices?
I can go first. I think actually my favorite one, I'll start with that, because the other ones I guess I'm crazy about all of them, but my favorite one is Callisto Protocol. I know we had just talked about that the other day, they showed a little bit of kind of trailer and kind of gameplay. This actually showed off a lot more gameplay and kind of what it's going to look like, and you can tell that it's definitely influenced, obviously, because it's a co-creator of Dead Space, how much it took from it, especially till you see the health bar on the back of his neck. Once he gets on like his weird suit, the gore, it really should. I don't know if you had caught. Did you catch it? The Callisto Protocol, just the short gameplay. Because
I watched the whole thing.
Okay, because I know you had said you had missed a part, and I wasn't sure if you had caught that one. But the ending, when I think what I really like the most is that it really kind of displayed, okay, like, not only am I fighting these people in a confined area, I have to worry about what's around me, because the dude gets like hit and then he gets knocked into a fan and then it starts like crushing him and tearing apart into the fan.
That was wild.
But when it was doing it, like when you really see the person's face, I was like, man, graphically that looks absolutely great. Like it really didn't hit me until I saw that, because you can't see the bottom half of his body because
he wants out of there. Like, he's getting sucked into
he's
that
like trying
thing
to fight it, and it just looked absolutely good. Like aside from being torn apart, I was like, damn, like the amount of effort that they put like into the facial animation, everything they had going on right there, I was like, this looks great, and I'm super excited for this game. And after I saw this gameplay, I was like, damn, if I was the team remaking Dead Space right now, I would actually be worried, because this game comes out a month before the Dead Space remake, and it's almost an identical game, you know, one's a clone of the other, but rightfully so, because it's the person who helped make that. So it's not like I could be mad at the guy for doing that, especially when we weren't getting Dead Space for the longest time. So either way, I'm super interested to see how this game comes out and what it scores, because I wonder what that effect that's going to have on Dead Space. Because if this game came out at like a 10, if I was them, I would just delay that until like summer or something like that.
I liked seeing that. What I was noticing is the combat seemed really quick on how fast he was able to switch between like shooting his guns to like that electrical bat or whatever that he had.
Yeah, to keep him off.
Yeah, and I liked that they were showing kind of, I think he was saying one of them was like a med bay spot and one of them was like a fuel spot, whatever it was. But that gravity gun that he had was way dope. I was able to like suck the dude up, bring him in, and then he was throwing him into like fucking fan belts and shit. I was like, dude, this game looks like it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, that was a great one, and I'm glad. It's weird because they showed like almost the same trailer, but they're like, oh, it's the like the rated R cut. I'm like, I didn't really see anything different, and then they launched into like the new gameplay. So
that's what I was saying. I was like, oh man, you're really gonna show this again? But as soon as they started going off, I was like, damn, I'm sold on this game.
Yeah, so that was awesome. So that was Andrew's first game that he picked out. The one that caught my eye was Warhammer Dark Tide, which is developed and published by Fat Shark, coming to PC, but also exclusively for console, coming to Xbox, and this comes on September 13th. So the game will use similar formula to that used in Fat Shark's Warhammer Vermintide 2, which 4 players cooperate to defeat periodic waves of AI control enemies. Rather than a set of pre-made characters, the game will allow players to customize their class, appearance, and gender. The 4 classes consist of a veteran, zealot, ogre, and psyker. So I've been really dying to get back into these kind of more 4-player games, and I gotta say, this game looked, because they do a lot of different types of games when you do these Warhammer games. They do like, there's tactic games, there's like these isometrics game, and this one is like that first person shooter, and the style of when they were combining like the weapons that they have mixed with like the magic that they have. And then once I was really, because it looked like it was going to be co-op, but it didn't, I don't know if it really like said it, because it showed that you were kind of moving around and getting these objectives done. So when I looked it up, I'm like, okay, cool, this is going to be a full-on co-op game. And
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was even cooler that it's like, and it's going to be on the Game Pass. So Xbox does have a good, at least in my mind, a good-looking exclusive title coming on the Game Pass in September. That's going to be a nice co-op game. So I don't know. Looking at the way it was modeled, looking at all the kind of even all the monster designs, all the creatures that were in there, I thought that it looked extremely well done. So that's going to be top of my list for games that I'm looking forward to, especially that it's coming so soon. So.
I think out of all that, because
you co-op with me?
Yeah, I'm definitely down, especially for this kind of one. Because what I was gonna say is, there's been lots of like the Warhammer titles over the past few years, and we always see them. I'm like, damn, that looks really cool. That gameplay is just kind of not up my alley. I'm like, cool, finally something that I can dip like my toes in, and maybe that'll lead me into like, okay, you know, that was really cool. Maybe I should try these other things.
Yeah, because they do experiment, not really experiment, but they do have games under their banner that are just different genres. So it's like, if you like this style or this style or this style, try it out. This first-person shooter one looked like the one I'm like, okay, because this kind of matches, you know, the Borderlands style of being able to shoot and use power. So I'm like, okay, that's a crazy game. And I want to co-op that with you or Geno, whoever gets to play it. So that was my number 1. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course. Now, they showed off pretty much like almost a whole boss fight. I don't think they actually showed his name, but it's like a blizzard guy, and then it's like a big, almost like kind of snowflake. And then as you're fighting him on this almost carousel like thing that goes around, his like eye comes out, and I'm like, okay, you know, it seems like it's hard, but I don't know if it's like too much harder. But then as the eye's going around, it starts like shooting lightning out, and then when it hits like one side, it starts shooting stuff the other way. I'm like, okay, cool, it seems like they really upped the challenge. This is one of those games that I've almost been kind of tired of seeing, but finally we've known that this game, the DLC for this is coming out at the end of this month. It actually comes out on the 30th. And I went back and I was looking at it. I was like, I remember this being revealed forever ago. This game was, the DLC was actually revealed for this in 2018. It was supposed to come out in 2019.
Has it been that long?
Then it got pushed to 20, then to 21, and now here we are in 22. That I'm like, good. I'm glad that you guys are done. You took your time. It seems like the hard work really went in there because, again, it's a beautiful game. They have beautiful art design. I can understand it taking a while, especially because they're not like a crazy, crazy big team. That's like, I'm just glad that I don't really want to see any more of this. I'm glad what you showed me was just the one fight instead of all these different things, because now I've got a lot more to look forward to. And I feel like this is the opposite of what you were saying earlier. This drops soon at the end of the month, but it's not like tomorrow that, okay, this is that kind of reminder trailer that you need within 2 to 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, because that's fine, because a lot of I noticed a lot of games were coming out June 16th, the end of the month. It's just, if it's today's the 9th and your game's coming out the 10th, it's like, what's the point? Yeah, you should know that game. What I did like about that is it was showing off, was her name Miss Chalice?
Miss Chalice.
Yeah, so it's cool seeing her being able to fight, but one of the things I did like when he was actually talking to one of the creators after the game is that they're like, yeah, it's DLC, but this thing's almost big enough to where it's its own game.
Yeah.
So I wonder if from 18 to 22, if they just kind of kept adding on it that made it that way, or if it was always kind of like meant to be a kind of 1.5.
I think originally that's how it started, because when I was looking up the time frames, I'm like, I know I've been seeing this for a while. They're saying, we want this to be perfect. We want it to be not just something that we pop out and it's an extension. We want it to be almost like Cuphead 2. This is, you should equate your DLC to the game, and which one's going to be better. So hopefully that is something they took to heart and just made it almost like a whole thing. And they wouldn't even have to make it as big if they even did it half as big as the first one, because a lot of those bosses are so damn hard that it's definitely time consuming. Addictive gameplay loop, and I loved it.
Nice. So that's introduced number 2. The second game that caught my eye, and I have a love-hate relationship with it at this point, is Midnight Suns, which is developed by Firaxis, published by 2K Games. We got a release date of August 23rd. Now, I was mad because, again, we're not seeing gameplay. If this thing comes out in August, that's a couple months away. Like, I want to see more combat, but what I did like is that it did kind of show more of what Lilith, the Demon Queen, is doing. I didn't know she was actually taking someone like Venom or Hulk that you see at the end and actually putting them under her control. So that is kind of neat that it's going to be, okay, it's not just going to be faceless demons that you're going to be slaughtering. There's going to be boss fights that are going to be based on characters that we know. So I am excited because it is still going to be this tactical role-playing game that looks really cool, because when Spider-Man obviously is one of the biggest names in there, they kind of show all the outfits that you're going to get for all the different kind of designs. So I'm upset that we didn't get to see gameplay. I am excited that we got to see more. And dude, those trailers, those soundtracks are always fire, dude. When Metallica starts playing, I was like, okay, so I wish there was a little bit more, but it is
second
coming.
Metallica soundtrack from another game too. We'll get to the other one, but I just not thought about that.
So I don't know, are you still interested? Were you ever interested in this, or when you heard it was like a card-based RPG, did that turn you off?
It didn't turn me off, but I wasn't hyped for it. But I think what kind of lessened my hype is I saw that today and I was like, this looks cool. I think I'm still going to try it. But again, I was worried because we haven't seen gameplay. But then people were allowed to, I guess there's lots of people who have got to play it, were saying that it just wasn't good. Now I'm like, oh man, that really fucking sucked. Especially when you have like a cool property like that to drop the ball. I'm just like, hopefully maybe... I don't know. It's still so close. It's so close that can you really
do anything? In 2 months?
Maybe it's just their opinion. I didn't see anybody raving about it, saying like, "Oh, this is great," but who knows?
Yeah, I'm jumping into it because it's the same as like playing what's the other Marvel game that we always like? Ultimate Alliance. It's like that's not for everybody, but like I love those games, and from what maybe that's why they're not showing us gameplays. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, because it's not gonna be that great, but. It's been on my list for a while, so I'm just glad we're getting closer in that date. So far, it's been holding still at August, so hopefully in 2 months we'll have a definitive answer. So
my last one was more just a kind of brief teaser, but it did show a little bit of gameplay in it towards the end. That's going to be Aliens Dark Descent. Now, that is coming out in 2023. This was just like an announcement kind of teaser with a little bit of the gameplay in it. Now, this is from what it looks like and what I saw afterwards that it's going to be like a top-down co-op shooter, except for it's not exactly top-down. It's not like Smash TV. It was almost kind of like at like a weird angle, but I felt like it fit it. I was like, man, that looks really cool, because I hope they put more work into this than what was that last
Fire
Aliens?
Team?
Yeah, because we played Aliens Fire Team.
I think that's what it was, or Fire Assault.
Yeah, it was Fire Team. Because we ran through and we beat that, me, him, and Geno did it. And we had a blast doing that. That was like a lot of fun. And I know you guys...
Fire Team Elite.
And I know you guys aren't like the hugest like Alien fans, so like just getting us all together in there, we had a blast.
Dude, I was actually saying I was gonna hit you up, but I was gonna wait for the show. Is this because it's a different team I think making it, so it's not a spin-off of that game or nothing like that, right? It's its own adventure, own storyline.
Yeah, it seems like it's its own thing, and like I said, completely different style. Completely different style of gameplay, but cool enough to where if you can squat up, I think that would be badass. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Because they didn't show any real gameplay. At the end, there's like 13 seconds of something. But, I mean, again, it comes out next year. But I was like, dude, if it's better than the last one, which got mixed reviews, but we had a lot of fun playing with it. If it's anything like that and we can gear up and squat up and there's just more options, then sign me up.
I'll say I wouldn't even mind if it was too almost like how the Ascent was, how you could play that co-op. That one's a lot more like top-down, whereas this seems like it'd be at some sort of angle going so you could see a lot better. But with a property like that, that's something you care about. You're not just killing, these random made-up blobs or something like that. I'm like, dope, I'm in.
Nice. So, my final one, guys, was when they were showing off the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Now, this is developed by Tribute Games, coming in June 16th. And if you're a fan of the old, like the arcade styles of Ninja Turtles, this is what it reminds you of. This is kind of what they've like simulated to like kind of bring back that good arcade style of fighting. And what was cool is we've slowly been seeing what they've been adding to the roster. They added on April O'Neil, which is cool for anyone that wants to play April. They added on Splinter, which I always didn't understand why he was never in the games. They always make him this old rat, but if it's based on the cartoon, he was a human that mutated into the rat, and he's the same age as Shredder. So I never understood how, like, out of nowhere, he's like 20 years older than him.
Well, I go by movie lore, and he's a rat that turned into a bigger rat.
So, but the cool thing they revealed today was that you get to play your own personal instructor. Casey Jones got added, and I was like, dude, that's good. That's the character that everyone's going to want to be. I mean, there's always in old games, there's always like 3 people that fight for Raph or Leo, but it's like Casey Jones, man. Any game that has Casey Jones as a playable character, you're going to want to do. And the other thing that they added was that instead of just doing a 4-player mode, that there's actually going to be a 6-player mode, which when you start seeing it looks like anarchy. Because I'm like, so 2 different things. Is the game going to be less hard with 6 players, right? I'd imagine so. So, because now you have 6 players, knocking people around, but the game, I hope, isn't as short as, like, Turtles in Time, because if you've got 6 players jamming through at a quicker speed than 4 players would be, then, you could knock, I'm assuming you could knock that thing out in an hour. So I'm hoping that this game's actually, like, long. I hope it's actually got, like, a story that's doesn't get beaten in 2 hours with 6 players. So
who knows? Maybe it'll do the opposite, because, like, in Elden Ring or Dark Souls, you summon somebody and it makes it a little bit easier because you can take some of the pressure off of you, but the world actually gets harder. The bosses have more health, the enemies do more damage, and that sort of thing based off of how many people you have in your world. So that could be the thing. The more players you have, maybe the harder it'll be.
The other thing I want that somebody, I was actually reading on Twitter because I missed it at the end of it, is that this is going to be a Game Pass game.
I did see that, and that was dope.
It was the Xbox, and then at there it goes Game Pass. I'm like, sweet, because I know Limited Run Games is one of the publishers for this. So for a while, I mean, if you want the hard copy, I think there's going to be a limited supply. And Sam was saying if you did order it, you got like a free pizza or something at Pizza Hut. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So, but if you were worried about it, it is coming digitally, and I love that it's coming to Game Pass. So that was my 3 games. And again, there is a lot. You're done with your 3, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of other stuff there. They did have Street Fighter 6 stuff with showing off Guile.
Yeah.
They did a lot of stuff with The Last of Us. There was a lot of cool like Japanese games that were on there. So if you guys have watched it, leave down below your comments of what you guys liked the most, because there was a lot of cool stuff, and it was almost too much for us to kind of break down one by one.
I felt like, too, even after watching it, I was like, did they really need to remake The Last of Us?
I see
that's PS5 only.
it doesn't make it's like, okay, there's a Last of Us on PS3, and then there's a remastered on PS4, and now you're remaking it on PS5. It's like, I understand that Naughty Dog did an awesome job and it's one of the greatest games of all time, but it's like, how much more are you doing to it? And it is cool to point out that they're like, these are all new performances, these are all new technologies they're using. Like, they've recreated stuff. It's not just a new coat of paint on it as a remaster. So it is cool that they've done it, and I know they're gearing up because the show's going to be coming out soon. So it is kind of like a reinterest if you've never played it before. Right. Here's the latest and greatest version of it.
Who hasn't played that by now that owns a PlayStation?
And why is it Last of Us? No other game does this. No other game does 4 different remakes in 10 years of the same game. So I don't know. It had a lot of people kind of on the fence. Either some of them really thought it was awesome, and some people were like why? Why can't Naughty Dog just go do something new?
Yeah, especially with something so soon, because when I was thinking of that, I was like, you know what? I think like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, if you wanted to remake those are fine. I wouldn't want a remake of 10 or of 12. Like, I'm fine with the remasters because those games are fine and good enough like as they are. I don't need a complete remake for something like that. 7, 8, 9 are dated because that was that time frame where, you're on the PlayStation 1, there's the grinding, and even still 8 has that weird leveling system where you don't want to level. There's tons of changes that can be made to make that modern and better versus I just got to put a little bit more effort into it, whereas this game just definitely didn't need it.
Yeah, so, I mean, to each their own. I'm sure it's going to be great. I have no doubt that it will be. But, so let's move in to our second story, and that is, guys, that Call of Duty has a lot going on right now. So we didn't pick it as one of our 3 games from the Game Fest because we were going to kind of bundle it together with this story, because starting out in the Game Fest, it actually showed off this new trailer that has, I don't know, maybe like 11 minutes of gameplay or something like that. It was a really long one. It's got, I mean, looking at it, it looks good. I thought the sound design on it was great. It sounded awesome when I was watching it. And I know one of the big things that they're pointing out are these like new water mechanics that they've been experimenting with. Like, and one of them, the guy that was talking about it was like, if you're hiding behind cover and you're in these ships and the ship moves and that moves with it, then like, everything's going to shift in it. So the gravity with these mechanics is all working in tandem with themselves. So you saw the new Game Fest trailer with the gameplay. What did you think about it?
Yeah, no, I loved it. I want to say that is a level even from original Modern Warfare 2. It's been a while since I played that, but that one today was called Dark Water. If not, then they have another. They either did it in 2 or 3, but they did something reminiscent of that. I think it is in 2, and maybe they just redid the level. Again, I thought it looked beautiful. I'm super hyped for this. I was a huge fan of Modern Warfare 2019. I did not like Cold War or Vanguard either. And it seems like that elite team is back now again. Because again, like you were saying, it looks amazing. That sound design, the guns sound a lot better. It doesn't sound like a fucking popcorn maker going off. Like, I'm super, super excited for it. And I did like, even if you're remaking the level, just making a subtle change as far as like, the water's hitting this thing, so the boxes are moving, so you're kind of trying to have to move your cover. That is something that I think is, if you're gonna remake something, that's something definitely worth doing. Yeah, so I like that Infinity Ward is really stepping up with this one. So let's kind of break it down into 3 different parts. We'll talk about what's been slowly been talked about, which is the campaign, the new modes that they have in multiplayer, and the rumors that are going on with Warzone 2. So starting with the campaign, just to kind of catch you guys up with it, because it is a remake, reboot kind of type game. So yeah,
it says, and this comes to us from IGN. It says, the first look at the sequel to the successful 2019 reboot brings back some characters from the last game, but also brings back some familiar characters from Modern Warfare's past. We'll see Captain John Price, Sergeant Kyle Gaz Garrick, Lieutenant Simon Ghost Riley, Sergeant John Soap McTavish, CIA Station Chief Kate Laswell return. And Modern Warfare 2 is bringing back a faction called Shadow Company that's been reworked for this modern title. Commander Philip Graves owns Shadow Company, and it operates as a private military contractor. A newcomer to Modern Warfare 2's story is Alejandra Vargas, a member of the Mexican Special Forces. The campaign revolves around a U.S. airstrike killing a hostile foreign general, and revenge is enacted, and Task Force 141 and the Mexican Special Forces must work together to defeat the enemy. So just hearing that, man, I'm just so happy that Call of Duty, because obviously the main portion of Call of Duty is the multiplayer. That's what keeps it going. That's what keeps it alive and active. But for a while, the campaigns, like you've been saying, the last two didn't really grip you. I liked it. At least they're going back into a story that works. It's odd with the wording. This whole Modern Warfare 2,
right.
There's games that exist with these titles, but the fact that they are rebooting it and giving us this kind of big, what sounds action-packed campaign, because the worldwide trailer just dropped on the 8th as well. So I like that they're still focusing on a good campaign, because for a while it kind of sounded like Call of Duties were going to start dropping them all together, just keeping the Warzone and like the multiplayer on. So I don't know, you're hearing that story. I mean, does that kind of revitalize you for how bad either Cold War was or Vanguard was? Do you like how this sounds?
It's not even. It sounds good.
Yeah.
I think it sounds a lot better than like what was going on with like Vanguard or even Cold War. But it's not even that does it for me. It was everything else, like graphically, how much work they put into it. But as far as like narrative wise, they don't even have to follow Modern Warfare 2's story for me. You could take certain elements from it if you wanted to, or you could do a whole new thing. Because to me, I feel like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original one, Call of Duty 4, obviously took the series off. I feel like Modern Warfare 2 and 3 is where the series like really peaked for me. Oh. Especially as far as like playing it. That's what I remember the most in high school. That's when I remember all the trailers. Like everybody's playing Call of Duty. Nobody's talking about anything else. Like nobody could touch Call of Duty. Whereas now, especially looking at it sales wise, Elden Ring past Call of Duty. That game is absolutely hype, but a game like that is beating Elden Ring. There's no way if that game came out in a time where like original Modern Warfare 2 came out that it would have even touched Call of Duty numbers. So hopefully this can bring Call of Duty back, to front and central, to where it's not just, again, like you're saying, not just about having a great, amazing campaign, but a good, full experience all around.
Yeah, and I believe it comes out October 28th or something like that. And you played the
yes.
last reboot, right? Okay, so I haven't, and I've been meaning to, but I might just wait now, because this one's supposed to pick up right where the last one left off, so I might just do a back-to-backer and just kind of wait closer to the middle of October, do the first one.
You played the first one?
Oh yeah, the old one. I haven't played the remastered one.
Oh,
I haven't played the rebooted one. I played the original one, but I haven't played the rebooted one. I never got to it yet.
The remaster of the original Modern Warfare 2?
The remaster, the remake of the reboot. I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, I didn't do that either.
So I think I'm just going to wait till October and then just jam it out with the next one that comes out.
Yeah, I might. That sounds like that might be a thing to do, is just jam out one and then do the other, just to kind of get an idea of like, oh, you know what, now that it's fresh in my mind, this is different from that.
Yeah, so I think that might be the move. So with that said, let's move into what they've been discussing with their multiplayer. So they've talked about that they're introducing 2 new modes, which is going to be Knockout and Prisoner Rescue. So the first one is Knockout, which let's see. So for Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward have taken the tried and true gunfight mode and melded it with regular multiplayer, creating Knockout. Knockout is a 6v6 mode where players have 1 life. Like Warzone, you can revive a teammate, but once your whole team is down, the round is finished. Players will fight for control of a package, with whoever holds the package at the end declared the winner. So, I mean, you're going to be playing these modes way, way, way more than I am. Does Knockout sound like something fun and new?
It would be if they keep the gunfight mentality, because it doesn't really say in there, it just says they melded it. So I don't know if they mean gameplay-wise, map-wise, but gunfight, for those of you who don't know, on original, or Modern Warfare 2019, it was 2v2s, and everybody had the same weapons and the same loadout. And it could be something random. You could have like a Magnum with like a 4-scope on it that makes zero fucking sense. So if they had 6v6s of everybody having like the same loadout, and so at that point it just comes down to skill, not, oh, I'm using the noob tube and he's using the shotgun, so if we camp it out in this building, there's nothing nobody can fucking do. So that's why I really like gunfight, is because that was just purely skill based, even with a dog shit weapon. So if they did something like that with the 6v6, I'd be super interested in that, and I'd definitely play it.
Awesome. So let's move into the second one that they're talking about, which this one caught my eye because I know they're kind of pulling from Rainbow Six. So this is Prisoner Rescue. And it says, if you've ever played, and again, this comes to us from charlieintel.com. So if you guys are looking for more information, they've got a ton of stuff on there. And it says, if you've ever played Rainbow Six Siege, you'll immediately recognize Prisoner Rescue. In this mode, teams are split into attack and defense, just like Search and Destroy. The attackers are tasked with rescuing the hostages and extracting them from the building, while defenders attempt to protect them from the insurgents. Modern Warfare 2 players will be able to breach doors and walls like in Rainbow Six Siege, and victory comes through either eliminating the other team or completing your objective. So I know you were a big fan in the Rainbow Six Siege. I think it sounds cool that they're at least taking a mode from one game and kind of inserting it into Call of Duty, but does that cross any type of line with you? Like, is that something that, like, no, that's a Rainbow Six thing and that's not a Call of Duty thing?
I think so, because again, Rainbow Six is a little bit more tactical, whereas this just sounds like, oh man, now you're just really going to kind of reinforce the idea of people camping. But again, they put out so much information, and it's not all like on this Call of Duty blog. It's on people like Charlie Intel, J God, all, FaZe, Jeb, all these influencers that are putting out the info. So on top of this, to go with this, the reason that even sounds like it would be a more tactical mode is there's also like a new ability where you can use like a camera, almost like in Rainbow Six Siege, or there's like a door charge that you can plant to kind of get campers out. So there's all kinds of different things. So we'll have to try it. I mean, if you're interested, there's way too much of that to like go over. So we kind of just got some of the bigger highlights that sounded more important. So definitely get out there and check it out. But I mean, I'll definitely try it for sure. I just hope that it doesn't reinforce like, all right, we're just camping and sitting in here with claymores everywhere.
So the final thing, unless there's anything else you want to add on that.
No, I think the final and probably the biggest news, maybe for me, but I think that's what most people are going to be looking forward to is.
Yeah, well, you go ahead and take the reins here. Is they're making an official Warzone 2. So, I mean, talk to us a little bit about what separates that from number 1 and what does that mean for next-gen players?
That's been leaked and kind of rumored for a while that Warzone 2 is coming out. The only thing that kind of sucked about this news, because the big rumor was that it's going to be next-gen only, because as Warzone runs right now, it kind of runs like shit because it's got Modern Warfare connected to it, Cold War connected to it, and Vanguard connected to it. So you have all these different weapons that need balancing with all these different gameplay mechanics that need balancing. So this is actually going to start fresh. It is going to be for current and last gen consoles. Nothing's going to carry over, so it's just going to be like a fresh start. They actually did show like 10 seconds of the map when you're looking through that teaser trailer that you can see. The big thing that they're talking about doing is they're going to take famous Modern Warfare 2 spots like High Rise, Favela, those maps that you know and love. Those are going to be kind of strewn about. And again, it's just going to be a newer, better version of Modern Warfare 2, or not Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, which that is going to be their big moneymaker. Yeah, they make a lot of money on multiplayer and the game itself, but Warzone is a force to be reckoned with. That game crashes, there's tons of map problems, the loadouts kind of are stale or boring, there's tons of stuff that doesn't work, but I still play it almost every day just because there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, I did like that. I was reading, brand new map and a new set of weaponry. You won't be able to bring anything over from to it, including operators, weapons, and loadouts. So it is kind of like cool that they're doing a nice clean reset. They're going, if you guys still want to play this one, it'll be there for you. We're not going to cancel it. Because they're getting rid of that one. They're just going, this one's for all the new players that want to start fresh without any of that stuff. And it's, I forget, did you say it was next gen exclusive?
No, it's next gen and this gen.
And this gen, okay.
Last gen, this gen.
So PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X.
Yeah, whatever gen you want to call them. They did say that it is going to be launching this year. It's not launching with Call of Duty, but Warzone also didn't launch with the last Call of Duty. A couple other big changes that they mentioned to it was to add a little bit more dynamic. When you equip a weapon, you put you can always put like a stock, a scope, silencer, some sort of barrel, something on there. Is now you can actually fine tune that, which I don't know how that's going to play out, but you could put a stock on there that maybe gives you better running, so mobility, or better stability. But you could fine tune that now to where you could take the stock and say, all right, I want more recoil, but I'm going to move fast as hell. So you can actually change what individually it does now. I think the biggest thing that they've added in here, at least for me, that I'm fucking finally super grateful for, is there's a firing range. So that means I don't have to set up my weapon, launch into Warzone, shit, it's got too much recoil, quit back out, or try to fix it within the 30 seconds I have before the game starts. If it's not ready, back out, try the weapon again, load back in, and then just keep going in and out, because the game, or the guns, they do not work the same as they do in multiplayer for obvious reasons. So you're sitting there launching into Warzone, Payback, and any other sort of game mode, trying my gun out for 30 seconds, then quitting to reset it back up, and hopefully it works good. So now I'll just be able to equip whatever on the fly, try it out and see how it's actually going to work. in practice and theory, and then launch with it. So I'm super grateful for that.
Nice, yeah. Seems like Call of Duty's got a lot of stuff going on with it. And again, in as much as we can talk about it, there's a bunch of articles out there that will kind of just dive into these things. So it's cool that it seems that they're moving in a positive direction. So anything else you want to add on Call of Duty?
There are gameplay impressions out there too for multiplayer, so definitely go out there and check it. Maybe some of your favorite Call of Duty players or something like that. Tons of people got invited to an event where they actually got to have hands-on experience with the game. So definitely, there's no footage, but again, they can give you their impressions. It's out there. Go ahead and check it out. I've been watching a lot of different things from my favorite people that I trust with like Call of Duty knowledge. Hopefully that'll be us one day that we can do that for you. But like I said, if you're interested and you want more, it's out there. Definitely go check it out.
Nice. So, guys, with that being said, that is the end of our main story. So, let's quickly move into riffing it up, where Andrew and I take our little bit of time to just kind of put some smaller stories on your radar so that you guys are aware of them.
You want to go first?
Yeah, let me talk about this. So this was actually in the Summer Game Fest, and they kind of hit it real quick. So I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more, and that's the Samsung Gaming Hub. Now, This was actually revealed earlier at CES 2022, and it showed off things like, I believe Stadia was one of them, and Utomic and GeoForce. But today, they actually showed that the Xbox Game Pass is going to be coming to this. So just read this quote real quick, and this is from the Samsung.com. It says, "We're on a quest to bring the joy and community of gaming to everyone on the planet, and bringing the Xbox app to smart TVs is another step in making our vision a reality," said Phil Spencer, CEO of Microsoft Gaming. "That's why we're excited to partner with Samsung, a global leader in TVs, on bringing Xbox to more players. Working with Samsung has helped us provide more access to gaming and enabled us to welcome new players into our thriving community." Now, these things are going to be out this year. I believe models are starting as early as June 30th. I mean, the fact that it's being built into a Samsung TV is just a regular app that as soon as you load it up, it'll just be like playing it on your phone. I'm like, dude, I know that's not for everybody, but if you are just addicted to the Game Pass, I mean, it looked awesome to me, man. I mean, I wouldn't mind having one. I mean, I can get rid of my Series S.
I definitely think it'd be cool too, because there's a lot of times I'm just like, oh, you know what, maybe from bed I could grind something out or just leave something on, again, like I'm doing with Final Fantasy 12, if it is on that streaming capability for what it can do. You know, I could just leave that on in the room instead of having to leave my Xbox with the TV on in a separate room, or, you know, I could be doing anything else and just have it. For me, it looks like it's more of like a solo experience for myself. But if you wanted to play multiplayer from there, you know, why not?
I mean, you could still you can still plug your TV in and keep a good connection. Like mine is plugged into like my router and stuff. So I mean, obviously the delay amount probably would be a little different, but they were saying too, like pick your favorite controller. All you gotta do is Bluetooth your controller straight to the TV. So it's just, I like that there's more ways to be playing these kind of things. So like you don't necessarily need to buy a box anymore. A new TV and a Game Pass subscription could be all you need. Like the Andrew right now, she's mainly just playing Grounded. We really don't need a second Series S if the TV app can just run it, if that's all she's mainly going to be playing for the month. So, I don't know. I thought it was a really cool idea. And, I mean, give it time. You'll probably see PlayStation Plus on there soon. And then you can start having all these kind of gaming subscriptions tied into one. So, I don't know. It's a good start. And I like that it started with Samsung, because I'm a big fan of Samsung TVs.
I think people don't give Microsoft enough like kudos, especially with some of the things that they do. But as far as like the Game Pass got shit on it first, and now the Game Pass is this thing that people are copying. But they've been leading the forefront in streaming, with streaming to phones, tablets, your computer, having access to your games, whatever. Now something like this, it just shows like the kind of work they're putting in to make sure that there's availability everywhere. And I think that's super cool.
Yeah. So leave your thoughts on it down below, guys. Andrew, what did you want to make sure the kids know about at home?
And my riff is going to be that there is a Capcom Games Showcase that is going to be on June 13th, which is Monday. It starts at 3 p.m. They already have said that Resident Evil 4 is going to be showed off in full force there for sure. So I would love to see at least like 5 to 10 minutes of actual like gameplay of it. Even if they did like the full 30 or something, like I don't know how long if they said it's going to be, but if you did 30 minutes of Resident Evil 4 for some reason, that would be cool. I would love to see that. But either way, I'm hoping to see, you know, more Street Fighter, maybe some Monster Hunter. You know, Capcom's got like a ton of different things going on. I would love to see more from them.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're in that E3 kind of season, so I mean, 35 minutes sounds just what I want to hear. Tight, quick, and focusing on all their games. So we'll definitely be checking that out, and I'm sure we're going to be reporting on it in our future episodes. So we are running a little long, guys, but let's get into our question of the week. So if you guys want to submit questions, feel free to send them to our email at lastcallproductions@gmail.com. You guys can send them in the comment section of our YouTube. You can leave them down below, or you can at me at Craig Perales, and you can send them to me and I will add it. So this one comes to us from Contra Warrior, and they write, been playing a lot of sci-fi, futuristic type games lately, and I always see in the future people are modded out like in Cyberpunk. So would you rather have robotic arms or legs?
I figure for you it'd probably be robotic eyes because you got that bad eyesight anyways. For me, I would...
if I could take like just new optics and just do shit that can like give you like, zoom in and shit like that. But if we're going just to arms and legs,
I would choose robotic legs because then I could at least make myself a little bit taller. But then I couldn't make myself too tall because then I'd have that weird torso to leg to arm ratio. Mm-hmm. But I could get at least like a solid 3-4 inches out of there.
I was thinking legs too. I mean, unless the arms are super strong, because I don't know, unless there's just like a cyborg style or like Jax, unless
what would you need that for?
Well, I mean, you could go you wouldn't want just super strength to have super strength?
Not when I could super jump or
that's what I'm saying though, assuming that we have these kind of abilities. But my main thing for legs was like, well then I would just assume, man, you could just do things longer in terms of like, not getting tired as fast. Your feet wouldn't hurt, your legs wouldn't crack. And I don't know who I was just listening to. I think it was like Bill Burr, and he was like how that people with no legs now, like the legs that they have, like these days are so good that they're not allowed to compete in the Olympics because people can just naturally just run longer and faster with them with these strides. So if you're giving me like Cyberpunk version of some cool ass legs, then I would assume that would be the way to go. And then and then I didn't think about like adding height, I guess, or something like that. I was just like, dude, you don't have to like worry about your feetsies getting hurt or nothing like that. So
no, I need a couple inches.
So thank you for the question. And again, guys, feel free to submit one yourself so we can answer on air. So with that being said, guys, that is the end of episode 136. Join us next time on episode 137. So until next time, my name is Craig Perales. This is Mandrew Montemare. Cheers.
Happy 3 days.
I think he'll do good in Black Adam. Like, that's a role that, like, that role you fit perfectly. But
I just hope they do, because it kind of seems like they were a little bit, like when the dude hits him in the head with the thing and just stands there and takes it. I'm like, that just seems like that typical Rock aesthetic is like, in every movie, some dude goes to hit him and he just stands there and face, and then he fucking does something like that. I'm like, that's what I don't like. If you're going to use your... Like, use how big you are, like, in a cool way. I don't know, do something.
Like in, what was the Hobbs and Shaw movie? Yeah, when he's, like, just ripping apart guards and shit. Like throwing, like, tossing them like he would have superhuman strength in a world he does not have superhuman strength. I'll never get past him holding the helicopter chain. And, like, you're like, you're not Captain America.
Yeah.
You're pulling back this goddamn chain with your rock strength.
And it's just like, why do you have to be like that in all your movies?
Hey, what you get them for one reason. It's the people's smile.